Hey, welcome to The Grade. I'm Cary Bolling, and today I'm happy to have as my guest on the show a singer-songwriter originally from Idaho, but now living in Spokane, Washington, Mark Kreilkamp. We'll be talking to Mark about his music, but first, let's give a listen to one of the songs he has from his first album, Rustlin' in the Wind, right here on The Grade.
Once upon a dark and a stormy night, once when a wistful wind did wail, I went to sleep with the howling of the wind and a dream of lone travail. For there once was a boy full of wonder who played on grasses summer green. From boy to man he was forged by the culture, a boy that fed on cloudy dreams. I hear the wind, I hear it blow. I rest my head in the dark of night and hear the rustling in my soul. Deep in the night, I hear the toll. It stirs my senses to the sound of the rustling in my soul. To a foreign land, you know I gradually drifted to a land where legends still prevail, where people still greet the strange and the unexpected, to a land beyond the normal veil. I hear the wind, I hear it blow. I rest my head in the dark of night and hear the rustling of my soul. Deep in the night, I hear the toll. It stirs my senses to the sound of the rustling in my soul. I hear the wind, I hear it blow. I rest my head in the dark of night and hear the rustling of my soul. Deep in the night, I hear the toll. Well, it stirs my senses to the sound of the rustling in my soul.
That was Mark Kreilkamp doing Rustling in My Soul. I think I said inadvertently at the beginning of the program that it was Rustling in the Wind, but it's Rustling in My Soul. And I'm happy, though, to have on my show, if he's still there, Mark Kreilkamp, after messing up the name of his title of his song. Mark, are you on the phone with me here from Spokane, Washington? Welcome.
I am here. Cary. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad you could join us. So you and I met many years ago in Nome, Alaska. I was working at a radio station. Your brother was working at the radio station there, and you came to Alaska and visited him. And I remember you as not Mark Kreilkamp, but Mark Haley. Could you tell us a little bit about that, and maybe about yourself and how you became a singer-songwriter?
And how he became Mark Haley.
That's right.
Yeah. So, backing up to my childhood, which a lot of these kind of stories begin, I come from a very musical family. My dad played piano and trumpet. My mom played piano. And we were always a very musical family, singing a lot. There were eight of us, and so there were actually a couple of groups that evolved out of our family that played locally in the town of Twin Falls. And actually, one went up to Sun Valley. One of my sisters had a group that played up there a bit. So anyway, we had that kind of a background. And I remember my father, when I was probably, I'm guessing 7 or 8, teaching me my first song on the guitar. He wasn't really a guitarist, but he knew enough to teach me. It was When I Was a Bachelor. I don't know if anybody might remember that song. And another one was called Blue Tail Fly. So anyway, that kind of started the whole thing. And then I just had an immediate love for that. And eventually found a different guitar because that original, I remember it was a Lyle, but it was really hard to play. And I eventually got a guitar that was easier. And I had a sister who also played, and she taught me how to finger pick. And I've just been playing ever since, on and off. And that's kind of how it all started.
Did you grow up wanting to be a singer-songwriter? I mean, or was it just kind of a hobby? Or
yeah, I was a closet rock star. I remember asking my dad if I could get an electric guitar one time, and he said absolutely not. And that kind of took the wind out of my sails because I was kind of moving in that direction. And I remember, in high school and junior high, you probably remember that too, Cary, all these groups in high school that got together that played at our dances. And I was just really wanting to be one of those. But I continued to play guitar, but when I didn't get that electric guitar, it kind of took a little bit out of it. So anyway, yeah, I've always kind of wanted to do that. I've always enjoyed singing with other people and harmonizing. I've been in a couple groups, and certainly in a group called the Honey Buckets here locally. And actually, we have a gig coming up shortly, so I always look forward to that.
Great. So talk a little bit about Rustlin' in My Soul, that song and that album. When I was looking at it, and by the way, Mark Kreilkamp has his albums on Bandcamp. And when I'm looking on Bandcamp and looking at that album, there's all these little narrative openings before each song. So what's that all about?
Actually, I wrote that song, Rustlin' in My Soul. It was kind of an autobiographical song. And I was listening to it just as you were playing it now. And even now, there's a lot of things that are still happening. It's when I hear that line, stirs my senses to the sound of the rustling in my soul, deep in the night, et cetera, et cetera. I still get up at night and I sit and I just kind of listen. And, the rustling in my soul is just, I'm just listening basically now to silence and what that brings me. But anyway, I wrote that song, and then I was also at that time in a choir. We put on a musical every year, and these were fairly well-known, Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell, And the last one, Godspell, that we put on, we asked the owners of the song, the choir director got a hold of them and asked them if we could use their logo to put on a T-shirt, just, to have for the choir. And we got read the riot act and said, absolutely no way, you're not going to do that. You're not going to perform that song, et cetera, unless you go through the proper channels to get that kind of thing authorized. And we were very disappointed about that. Decided at that point, let's try to write our own. We'll avoid this stuff by writing our own musical. So the task for the summer was everybody was supposed to write a song, and lo and behold, I was the only one that wrote anything. And actually, I had written a couple of more songs that led to this Rustlin in My Soul. It tells the story of the journey of somebody that, goes to sleep at night and he's looking out the window. It's stormy outside and you see the wind blow and you're hearing it blow. And was it really a dream? What was it really?
Those narratives are just to kind of introduce and set up the story, for those songs.
Yeah, and so, the narratives, they're brief, but they do set up the songs. And actually, I heard from a couple of parents who bought the CD and said that their children really liked it, and they were hoping I would write a little kids book to go along with it.
All right, so let's listen to another song. This one from your 2002 album, Jump Into the Stream. I'm Cary Bolling, and you're listening to The Grade, and my guest is singer-songwriter Mark Kreilkamp.
Yesterday I stopped and I looked around at the way I was living, the routine I had found. And I wondered how it come to pass as I drove to work another day, another dollar for gas. Last night before I found some sleep, well, I thought of a life I couldn't lead. Well, mysterious dreams began to play, and voices unknown began to say, you're still young at heart, everything you want is there for you. Gotta jump into the waters that are waiting there for you. Jump into the stream, the waters of the golden dream. Well, there's nothing that's left to do. Last night, I woke up with a flash. I knew where I was going, but first I had to burn the trash. Well, I drunk my life insurance and sold my suburban soul. I wired my guitar and now I'm playing my pop and roll. 'Cause I'm still young at heart, everything I want is there for me. I'm gonna jump into the waters that are waiting there for me. Jump into the stream, the waters of the golden dream. Well, there's nothing, no, there's nothing that's left to do. 'Cause I'm still young at heart, everything I want is there for me. I'm gonna jump into the waters that are waiting there for free. I'm gonna jump into the waters of that golden dream. Well, there's nothing, no, there's nothing that'll left to do.
That was Jump Into the Stream by Mark Kreilkamp, who is my guest today on The Grade here on Big Cabbage Radio. Mark, you can get all your songs off of Bandcamp at Mark Kreilkamp, that's MarkKreilkamp.bandcamp.com. And and that album is a collection of songs, you say, over the last 30 years, and they seem rather personal, reflective, and introspective. So what's the story on that? What's the story about that?
About the whole CD or just that particular song?
Wherever you want to go with it. Whatever you want to talk. You want to talk about your musical journey or your personal journey and how they relate? And, yeah.
You know, I was kind of looking at that today, too. And there's 14 songs on that CD, so there's quite a bit of music there. But a lot of it is about relationships. A lot of it, well, not a lot of it, but a couple songs talk about addictions. I would like to think I haven't had any addictions, but I think we're all addicted to something at some point in our lives. Just gotta name it. And then this particular song, it talks about, the golden dream. What's your golden dream that you've, never had? I don't know, the gumption to jump into the stream and do. And for me, it was, music, and how am I going to plug music into my life? And
yeah, because you have a career, you had a career and a life besides music, and music was a part of it. But
yeah, I knew quickly that it's, being a musician is kind of a hard life, especially when you have a family. And I was going to have to get, a regular job like everybody else. And so I did that. I loved my other job as a social worker, but I always had this, closet musician working in the background. And so all through those years, I was, writing songs, and I wrote some songs for my kids too.
Yes. And then does any of your family perform or help out on any of these albums?
Yeah, actually, in fact, I wanted to call out the bass player that I had for my first two CDs. I don't know, can I mention names on the show?
Sure.
His name is Dave Hackworth, and he was from Chile. He recently died within the last week or two, and so I'm thinking about him a lot. It was very sad, but I have very fond memories of him, and he played the upright bass, and he was in a lot of other bands too, bluegrass kind of bands in the area. I did have a daughter who played flute in the Rustlin in My Soul, and so that was very nice to have her play along.
Well, I'm talking with Mark Kreilkamp, if you've just joined us here on The Grade. And Mark, let's listen to a song from your most recent album, Chants, Rants, and Reflections, and it was released in March of this year, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the cut is Angel of the Night. You're on The Grade.
Sitting in the mobile outside of town, feeling half past blue. I drove to the city to the venue. Found me a table, ordered up a nail. I said hi to a friend from Reno. When I saw your face in the mirror, a ghost from Limbo. And I said, oh, release me from desire. You have set my heart on fire. Drawn to your table, it was hard to resist. An awkward time at best. You motioned to the seat beside, and your friend was unimpressed. It didn't take long before we found there was more to this chance encounter. We spoke of times before and of times forever. And I said, oh, release me from desire. You have set my heart on fire. And I said, oh, don't you know, I'm a soul on fire. Oh, please, don't you see, you're an angel, set me free. I will walk on the rail, sail the raging water, for this love is true. This love is real. For you. There was more in the star-shone glance. You took me to a place never been before, called it circumstance. Held each other close, our hearts dissolved, and we melted into one another. I swear it was the love of an angel and not another. And I said, oh, release me from desire. You have set my heart on fire. And I said, oh, don't you know, I'm a soul on fire. Oh, please, don't you see, you're an angel, set me free. I will walk on the rail, sail the raging water, for this love is true. This love is real. Oh, don't you know, I'm a soul on fire. Oh, please, don't you see, you're an angel, set me free. I will walk on the rail, sail the raging water, for this love is true. This love is real. For you. for you.
Mark Kreilkamp performing Angel of the Night. And let's talk about a little bit about that. Mark, that song's got a different feel from, I'd say, the others. What's your take on that?
I'm not sure where the emotion's coming from, but it's basically finding yourself coming into contact with something or someone that totally catches you off guard, and you just had no idea it was, this thing or this person or whatever was entering your life. And it can be anything. I mean, it can be a relationship. It could be some spiritual endeavor. It could be, an occupation that you just had no idea was there. Again, kind of looking at you, but you never really saw it. And it's kind of you see it in the mirror, and then you just go explore it, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're totally enthralled with whatever's there. And it changes you. It changes you as a person. And you're not the same anymore. And that's kind of the whole idea of Angel of the Night. It's something that it's kind of in the dark. It's kind of hidden. And yet it does come to light. Yeah. That's kind of the story behind that. And I spent a lot of time on that. I don't know. Can I just go into the whole recording thing a little bit?
Sure.
And I mentioned this with you before, during the whole COVID, clampdown, I was always wanting to learn how to use this GarageBand application on my phone and on my laptop. And I had the time to do it now because there wasn't anything else I could do. So I spent a lot of time, a lot of YouTube hours doing this. And so all of this was, produced by myself, and I played everything on it. And it was a blast. It was just incredible. And it continues to be a tool that I find, it's just, it was there all along. It's another one of those things that's, kind of hidden in the dark that you didn't realize it was there. But I found it was like another instrument, though. You've got to be able to spend time with it, and put in 10,000 hours with it. I'm really good at it. So,
if not more,
as you know.
Yes. Well.
Anyway, so that was kind of a little story behind how the recording of it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, our time's coming to an end here, but you've been listening to the music of Mark Kreilkamp today on The Grade. You can find his music on Bandcamp by going to Mark Kreilkamp. I'm going to spell that, MarkKreilkamp.bandcamp.com. And you can also contact him from there. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for being my guest today. Appreciate you taking the time to do it.
You bet. It was a lot of fun, Cary. I look forward to talking to you again.
And if you're still wondering why Mark was once called Mark Haley, you'll have to contact him through Bandcamp. And that's it for this episode of The Grade. I'm Cary Bolling. Be well. You've been listening to The Grade.